Discover the incredible moment. Archangel Michael exposed the wives of fallen angels. A sacred revelation. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, a darkness loomed heavily upon the earth. The hearts of many were consumed by wickedness, and the lineage of humanity was corrupted by unholy unions. Celestial beings, known as the sons of God, once loyal to Yahweh, now strayed from their divine purpose, ensnared by their fallen nature. They entwined themselves with the daughters of men, giving rise to the Nephilim, giants, fierce and powerful, who spread chaos among the faithful. Archangel Michael, the chief warrior of the Lord, gazed upon this tumultuous realm from the heavenly heights, attuned to the weight of the mission set before him. As shadows gathered over the city of Enoch, families rejoiced in the twilight, their laughter mingling with the faint whispers of the dark powers lingering around them. But Michael felt the weight of corruption as he watched these unholy matrimony flourish. The celestial beauty of pristine creation twisted into a grotesque spectacle. Love tainted by the seductive allure of immortality, binding angelic beings to the mortal coil. Compelled by the urgency of his divine charge, Michael resolved to confront these leaders of rebellion, pressing toward a covenantal breach to re-establish divine order. Ascending to the celestial realms, Michael gathered troubling testimony from righteous souls who bore witness to the wickedness unleashed by the fallen ones. They spoke of the Nephilim, hybrids towering and fearsome, wielding a power that usurped the hearts of men and instilled dread within their souls. Each tale revealed a fabric of despair, stitched tightly with rebellion against their creator. A rebellion that threatened not just the earthly realm, but also the harmony of the heavens. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. With unwavering conviction, Michael approached the throne of God, bringing forth the vivid accounts of corruption. The heavenly court fell silent in anticipation as he spoke of the grievous acts and the tainted lineage, mourning the sacredness that had been breached. The seriousness of his report hung in the air, an indelible weight as the heavenly host braced for the impending judgment, the cleansing of the earth from its defilement. Yet amidst the spiraling darkness, a flicker of hope remained. Noah, a righteous man walking blameless in the sight of God. As the decree of judgment resonated in the heavens, Michael's heart stirred with compassion. The archangel stood resolute, ready to implement the divine decree of judgment that would wash the earth clean. But he pondered Noah's faithfulness amid pervasive sin. The contours of divine sovereignty entwined with human choice loomed large, and Michael sensed the moral gravity of the floodwaters soon to engulf the earth. As he gazed once more upon the land, heavy with impending doom, a divine silence enveloped the moment, pregnant with the promise of restoration. How would humanity respond to God's intervention? The narrative awaited the revelation of trust amid trials, an epic awaiting unfolding. In the midst of turmoil where wickedness flourished, Noah stood steadfast. His heart, tender yet resolute, sought the grace of God even as the world around him crumbled in chaos. In that moment, as the shadows lengthened across the land, a soft, radiant light pierced through the gloom, a sign that Yahweh had not forgotten his faithful servant. The Lord spoke to Noah, saying, "The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and outside with pitch. Thus, the divine blueprint was unveiled, a vessel of salvation in the midst of impending doom designed for a remnant that would carry forth the promise of creation. Noah, trembling yet filled with awe, ran to his family, sharing the dire message of the Almighty. His sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, listened closely as he uttered words marked by divine urgency. "Hearken to me, my sons. The Lord has commanded us to prepare an ark, for great waters shall cover the earth. Do not despair, for through this act we may find salvation." As days turned into weeks, the labor of constructing the ark became their shared endeavor. With each swing of the hammer and haul of the wood, they echoed their father's faith, sowing seeds of hope in a barren land steeped in depravity. Yet the wrath of heaven grew, and the Nephilim roamed the earth, mocking the righteous and casting terror upon the hearts of men. In the quiet moments, amidst the toil, Michael returned to Noah, having been sent from the heavenly court, clothed in majesty, his presence igniting both fear and wonder. "Noah," the archangel proclaimed, "the Lord has chosen you, and it is through you the divine promise shall continue. Be steadfast, for what is unfolding is part of God's redemptive plan for his creation." Noah gazed into the eyes of the celestial being, sensing the gravity of his choice. "Mighty Michael," he said, his voice trembling with earnestness, "how can I prevail against such wickedness? What can a man do against giants and darkness?" "Trust in the Lord's covenant," the archangel replied. "He has set his heart upon you, and through your faithfulness a new beginning shall arise. Fear not, for the heavens are watching. Be as the dove that returns to its home, knowing its safety lies in obedience." As the skies grew darker and the winds began to howl, Noah remained undeterred, working on the ark as the whispers of scoffers filled the air. The people gathered around, scoffing at the endeavor, their laughter ringing like a dark echo through the valleys. "What is this madness?" they mocked. "Where is the promise of rain?" Days turned to months, and as the ark began to take shape, the air was thick with tension. Michael, still watching over the faithful, sensed that the time for fulfillment drew near. The decree of the Lord was set to unleash the fountain of the deep and the windows of heaven. With every stroke of labor, Noah positioned himself as a monument of faith amidst rampant disbelief. But what none could foresee was the crescendo of divine mercy intertwined with judgment, the sign of a fresh start that hung in the balance, unseen yet profound. Each day, as clouds gathered ominously on the horizon, the eternal question loomed: would humanity heed the call of salvation? And so, as the last bolt was set and the final prayers were uttered, the heavens thundered with expectation, waiting for the appointed moment when the floodgates of heaven would burst forth. Little did they know that within the ark lay the hope of the ages, one man's trust woven into the fabric of God's sovereign purpose, waiting to be fulfilled. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an eerie glow over the land, Noah's heart pulsed with the weight of divine commission. The solitude of his labor was marred only by the vibrant whispers of chaos that enveloped the world beyond the ark. The laughter of the godless rang in his ears, a mockery of the hope he clung to. Yet each nail driven deep into the wood echoed the promises of God, solidifying the unwavering faith that burned within him. The task was monumental, yet Noah and his sons worked tirelessly, day and night, while the sun poured its light upon them, casting trembling shadows that danced like spectres around their mighty vessel. They were men set apart, builders of the ark, but also carriers of a decreed destiny. Then one fateful evening, a palpable stillness descended, as if the earth itself held its breath. In that solemn silence, Michael appeared again, his countenance aflame with heavenly purpose. His presence rushed upon them with such fervor that even the distant sounds of scoffers faded into oblivion. "Noah," he proclaimed, his voice reverberating through the gathering twilight, "the time has come for the Lord to act upon his word, and your obedience shall be revealed as the seal of his promise." Noah, filled with trepidation, fell to his knees, pleading for understanding. "Mighty Michael," he said, "what must I do? How shall I carry forth the will of the Almighty?" "Gather your family and all the sacred creatures that dwell upon the earth," the archangel directed, glancing skyward as if drawn by a secret signal from the Lord. "For in the coming days the veil of heavens shall be cast aside, and the waters of judgment shall sweep across the earth. Yet fear not, for the faithful will be preserved within the walls of your labor." In that moment, a shudder of realization coursed through Noah's being. He was not merely a carpenter. He was an instrument of divine mercy, a vessel of grace in the storm of sin. The words of Michael resonated in his heart, lifting him from doubt to bold assurance. He called to his sons, urgency igniting his voice. "Arise, gather the creatures, 2 of every kind, as our God has commanded. We are to ready ourselves as protectors of life amidst the approaching deluge." As they went forth to fulfill the archangel's command, the skies thickened with ominous clouds, dark and heavy, like the hearts of the wicked that roamed the earth. In the distance, the scoffers' laughter faded into uneasy murmurs as they observed the gathering of animals, strange and wondrous, coming forth from their hiding places, compelled by forces unseen. Noah's household transformed into a sanctuary of provision and hope. The preparations continued under the watchful eye of heaven, but a lingering sense of dread loomed over the horizon, where the elements conspired in anticipation of the judgment. Michael remained, a vigilant guardian, his wings stretching wide, casting a divine shadow over the ark. As the day of fulfillment approached, the Lord spoke once more. "Noah, behold my covenant. The very essence of my love is entwined with your obedience. Within your walls lies a future not yet unveiled, a promise that shall echo through the ages." The heavens grew dark, and the air trembled with a predestined stirring. Noah turned towards the creatures gathered near the ark. They quivered as if sensing the impending storm. In that holy moment of gathering, the archangel, with a voice like trumpets, declared, "The flood will not only cleanse the earth of wickedness, but will also herald the beginning of something new. Watch, my faithful servant, as your faith will become a testimony for generations to come." And so the hour drew near when the great waters would rise, and the earth would know the depth of God's judgment and the height of his mercy. Little did they comprehend that within this sacred act lay the unfurling of God's greater tapestry, an everlasting plan that would extend beyond their realm and reshape the hearts of mankind forever. As the dawn broke, a hushed stillness fell over the land, heavy with anticipation, for the day had come when the heavens would release their judgment upon the earth. Noah stood at the entrance of the ark, his heart thrumming with a blend of resolve and dread, each beat a reminder of the momentous task before him. His sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, joined him, their eyes wide with the weight of destiny. They had been chosen to carry forth life and hope amidst impending destruction. Michael's voice echoed in their minds, reiterating the call to faithfulness. They took a deep breath, gathering courage as they prepared for the efforts ahead. The air felt electric, thick with the promise of divine intervention. With the sun casting eerie shadows upon the ground, Noah turned to his sons and addressed them with steady courage. "We must gather all that the Lord has commanded before the skies unleash their fury. For what lies within these walls is sacred, entrusted to us for the preservation of creation itself." Scanning the horizon, they observed the animals that had drawn near, curious and calm amidst the turmoil surrounding them. Each creature approached with an uncanny grace, as if guided by an unseen hand. The flutter of wings and the rustle of leaves heralded the arrival of each pair, as if they were arriving to witness a holy assembly. The sight stirred Noah's heart. Every creature was a testimony to God's extraordinary creation. Suddenly, The thunder rolled, and dark clouds swirled ominously above, echoing the growing tension within Noah's spirit. The world, steeped in sin, was indifferent to the great unfolding mystery above. Laughter turned to silence as people gathered at the distance, watching the spectacle unfold with mockery, yet fear flickered within their eyes like a dying ember. "We shall not be discouraged by their scorn," Noah exclaimed, his voice rising above the rumblings. "We are the bearers of salvation. With God we shall prevail." His sons nodded, each heart aligned to their father's steadfast faith. At that moment, among the gathered creatures, a pair of majestic eagles soared above, their wings outstretched, as if to embrace the dawn of a new era. A hush fell upon the crowd as Noah extended his hands in prayer, invoking God's blessings upon the ark and all who would enter it. "O Lord," he entreated, "let your mercy be upon us, for we stand in obedience to your will. May your perfect plan unfold through us." As darkness cloaked the earth, the first drops of rain began to fall, a whisper from the heavens, each droplet a harbinger of what was to come. A chill swept across the land, the atmosphere thick with foreboding and urgency. The scoffers who had gathered in disdain began to fidget, uncertainty gnawing at their resolve. Could it be that Noah, the humble carpenter, was indeed correct? As they shifted uneasily, an ominous rumble of thunder echoed through the valleys. The ark stood tall behind Noah, an oasis of hope against a backdrop of despair and disbelief. Then a voice cried out from among the crowd, a man clutched by fear. "Noah, is it too late for us? Can we not join you?" Noah glanced to Michael, whose gaze pierced the heavens. With compassion pooling in his heart, Noah responded, "The door remains open as long as it is day, but the time draws near when it shall be closed. Repent now and turn from your wickedness, that you too may find salvation." But even as he spoke, the indifference of the crowd remained. The rain fell harder, and the earth reverberated with the fierce heartbeat of the divine. Little did they realize, within the unfolding storm was a sacred promise hidden. God's unyielding plan was at hand, and the revelation of all that was to come would shake not only the earth, but all of creation itself. The flood would come, yes, but so would salvation entwined with judgment, forever altering the course of human history. And so, the great mystery remained. What future awaited beyond the deluge, veiled in the depths of God's eternal wisdom? As the rain began to thicken and the winds howled, the hearts of those within the ark found both solace and trepidation. Noah sat with his family in the dim light, the faces of his sons illuminated by flickering shadows. They gathered together, feeling the tremors of the earth beneath them, sensing the enormity of the moment pressing down, as ever, upon their collective spirits. "Embrace this moment, my sons," Noah urged, his voice steady yet laced with urgency. "For we bear the weight of a covenant, a legacy that transcends the winds and the waters. We must remember the promise made to our forefather Adam, to be fruitful and to multiply." Noah's eyes glistened with hope, urging them to cling to the truth of God's faithfulness. Outside, the cacophony of the storm melded with the cries of the people who had once mocked them. Some were now screaming for mercy, believing perhaps that the rain and the rising waters would be the end of them. "Noah, save us!" they implored through the growing din, their voices reaching a fevered pitch as the reality of their rebellion sank in. "Beware," Noah warned, turning his voice toward the crowds. "The time of mercy is at hand. Turn from your evil ways. Seek the Lord." But the floodgates of heaven opened, and the deluge roared like 1,000 drums. With every drop, the earth began to tremble, and the walls of the ark pulsed with the rhythm of their pounding. The welling water soon cloaked the ground, swirling around the feet of the onlookers, drawing eager hands toward the refuge of hope. Yet still, the hearts of men remained hardened. The echoes of laughter from earlier days had shifted into cries of desperation, but it was too late. Judgment had arrived. Within the ark, as the waters enveloped the land, Noah clasped hands with his sons in fervent prayer. O Lord, let these moments stand as testimonies of your power and grace. May our faith be ignited and our resolve strengthened for what lies ahead. A hush enveloped their spirits, and even the animals stilled, sensing the divine presence amidst their midst. As the rain continued to cascade and torrents swept away the world as they knew it, Michael, the Archangel, moved silently through the tempestuous clouds above. His countenance glowed, a celestial light piercing through the storm, carrying with him the authority and purpose of the Almighty. "Look not with fear, for the earth shall be renewed," he declared, though his voice resonated only within Noah's heart. "You are the seed from which life shall sprout anew, and from these waters divine purpose will flow." In that moment, Noah understood. "The flood is both an end and a beginning," he murmured, grappling with the revelation unfolding in the depths of his spirit. "This is not merely a cleansing, but a recalibration of divine order for generations to come." As the skies raged above, the ark remained steady, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. Through the flash of lightning, Noah perceived the shimmering silhouette of peace over the waters, where the hand of God meticulously designed the resurrection of life. And still, the call of the lost echoed, a reminder that even in this great flood, not all was lost. For there were promises yet to be fulfilled, a love yet to be revealed, and even the hearts of men could be redeemed. What reckoning awaited on the other side of this storm, where the righteousness of God would be made manifest? Noah's heart raced with the mysteries yet untouched, whispered promises of a new covenant, woven within the very fabric of creation itself. As the torrents surged around the ark, the waters rose to engulf the earth, while within, a holy stillness enveloped Noah and his family. The cries of the anguished gathered outside became a distant echo, muted by the thick wooden walls that held them as a sanctuary from the flood. Yet amidst this shelter, the weight of grief settled heavily on Noah's heart. With his hands still clasped in prayer, he turned his gaze toward his sons, their expressions a mixture of fear and resolve. "Remember, my sons," Noah spoke gently, his voice breaking the insistent rhythm of the rain. "The Lord has ordained this day. He has chosen us, not merely to survive, but to be partakers of his promise." Shem, the eldest, nodded solemnly. "We shall endure, Father, for the Lord is with us. This trial, as bitter as it may seem, bears fruit yet unknown." Meanwhile, from the celestial heights, Michael watched the unfolding events with a heart stirred by the divine plan. The tempest was but a phase, a crucible in which the foundation for a new world would be forged. With each flash of lightning, he felt the pulse of creation beckoning forth life that would soon emerge from destruction. And in the darkest hour of the night, a stark reminder came to Noah, whispering faintly through the chaos, an ancient prophecy he had often pondered. "The seed of a woman will crush the head of the serpent. Where once the earth was sown with sin, the waters would cleanse it. Where once rebellion thrived, grace would again take root." Suddenly, amidst the relentless bombardment of the storm, a profound sensation washed over Noah. A quiet voice, softer than the wind, yet louder than the thunder, echoed in his spirit. "In you I am renewing my covenant with mankind. Behold, your descendants shall walk in righteousness." Noah's heart swelled with courage as he comprehended more deeply the scope of their undertaking. "We are to be heralds of hope," he said, fervently gripping the hands of his sons. "As the storm ebbs and the waters recede, we must look to the rainbow as the sign of his enduring promise. No more shall the earth be consumed." As the rain continued its fierce assault, the skies opened momentarily, revealing a sliver of light piercing through the darkness. Noah gazed up, and with hope ignited within him, he perceived a flicker of what was to come, a world reborn. Above the ark, Michael hovered, observing the souls that had chosen to mock the warning of God. His heart grieved for their misguided ways, and yet he remained steadfast in his mission. "Judgment is not the end, but the means through which mercy shall flow," he whispered, indifferent to their cries. He sensed that redemption was always woven amidst despair. Days turned into nights as the flood continued its course. Within the ark, the animals found solace in their unusual fellowship. Beasts that normally feared one another now lay tucked beside each other, united in the singular struggle for survival. It was a miraculous testament to the peace that could exist when hearts surrendered to the divine purpose. In the creaking walls of the vessel, Noah and his family discerned the heartbeat of the creation anew, the rhythm of life waiting to emerge. For soon, the ark would no longer be a refuge, but a launch pad into uncharted territory, where the light of a new dawn awaited. Through the restless waves and shifting tides, a divine secret lingered. What the earth lost in judgment would be restored with grace. The heart of God beat steadily behind the storm, eager to unveil his masterpiece. As the waters swelled relentlessly, a question wafted through the air, urging Noah to ponder deeper. What rebirth awaited once the heavens had poured out their cleansing wrath? What new testament would be forged in the hearts of those who dared to look beyond the deluge? As the days of the flood stretched onward, a sense of stillness emerged within the ark's confines, interspersed with moments of reverent anticipation. Noah watched his sons tending to the animals, their hands working diligently to care for each creature, ensuring their needs were met amidst the tempest that raged outside. The air within the ark, heavy with the fragrance of the earth and the warmth of shared purpose, began to take on a sacred quality. "Look there!" Ham suddenly exclaimed, pointing towards a patch of dim light that flickered along the walls of the ark. Straining their eyes, the family gathered, their hearts quickening with hope. From the heavens, the first rays of dawn glimmered through the storm clouds, where shades of gold began to break the grip of the endless grey. It was a visible promise, a harbinger that the flood would soon recede. The rain that had once lashed relentlessly against the wooden structure began to soften, giving way to silence. Noah knelt in humility, feeling the weight of the world shift, and with fervent zeal he lifted his voice to the Lord. "Great God of heaven, my heart rejoices for your deliverance. I know you will not forsake us." Meanwhile, in celestial realms, Michael stood vigilant, his wings outstretched as he observed the quieting storm. The universe held its breath, awaiting the fulfillment of the Lord's decree. He knew that soon the purity of creation would break forth anew. Just as the waters would recede, so would a new covenant emerge from the ruins of judgment. Within the ark, the family of Noah sought to comfort one another. "What will the earth be like when we step forth?" asked Japheth, his youthful spirit enlivened by the flickers of hope. "Will it be as it was, or will it carry the marks of God's grace?" Shem pondered aloud, his brow furrowed in thought. This moment was heavy with the possibilities of renewal and reconciliation. "Perhaps," Ham speculated, "the world will bloom again, a garden of life rich with the touch of our Creator. And so we shall tread lightly upon it," Noah declared, his voice filled with conviction. "For the Lord has commanded us to be stewards of his creation, to cultivate the earth in righteousness, not as before." As the final drops of rain fell, the air filled with an enchanting calm, as if nature itself had sighed in relief. The sun broke through at last, casting brilliant reflections upon the waters that surrounded the ark, illuminating their vessel with a holy light. Then a subtle divine impression washed over Noah, an inward revelation. "The flood does not signify an end," he whispered to his sons, "but a beginning. The world will be stripped clean, free from the corruption that led to its destruction." With spirits buoyed, the family awaited the command to emerge. Days passed, and they gathered in prayer, praising the God who had seen them through the storm, recounting their hopes for the new world that awaited them. "And the covenant of promise shall be upon us," Noah reminded fiercely, "for on the horizon stands the symbol of God's fidelity, a rainbow, soon to be drawn across the clouds, a reminder that his mercy endures forever." Little did they know, as they prepared to step into the sunlight, a solemn secret lingered. What of the others who had perished? What whispers of repentance might linger in the hearts of the fallen? As their hearts brimmed with expectation, the moment approached. God's revelation was imminent. What glories would be uncovered in the aftermath of the flood? Would they find solace or confrontation with the memories of what once existed? The echo of the Creator's intent promised a journey not only of survival, but of profound discovery, an adventure tethered once more to his divine purpose. And amid the tension of awaiting new life on the cleansed earth, a deeper truth loomed. The unfolding of redemption woven through every ripple of creation, beckoning them to draw near and witness the fullness of God's sovereign plan. As the sun ascended higher in the sky, its rays poured forth like liquid gold upon the surface of the receding waters that encircled the ark. A hush fell over Noah and his family, their hearts beating as one in anticipation, as they sensed the divine call drawing them towards a new dawn. "I come, my sons," Noah beckoned with a steady voice. "The time has come. Let us offer our gratitude to the Lord for his mercy, for though he brought forth judgment, he has also shielded us from annihilation." The men, with heads bowed low, approached the center of the ark, where an altar of stone had been prepared. They lifted their hands in prayer, invoking the name of the Most High. "For the glory of your name, we praise you, O God of our fathers," Noah prayed, "and we beseech you to guide us in the days that lie ahead." The other three joined him, their united voices rising like incense before the throne of grace. After their fervent intercession, the moment arrived. Noah approached the great door of the ark, feeling the weight of all creation upon his shoulders. With a steadfast heart, he unlatched the heavy beams and opened the door. A gust of fresh air rushed into the vessel, carrying the scent of damp earth and renewal. Peering out, they beheld the land transformed. The waters had receded, revealing a vast expanse where the earth, washed clean, lay ready for the touch of life once more. Wildflowers began to emerge, carpeted in vibrant colors, and the trees stood steadfast, their roots deepened by the deluge. "Look," Japheth exclaimed, his eyes widening as he beheld the lavender blooms dancing in the breeze. "Creation sings anew." Yet in that mingling of joy and sorrow, Noah remembered the cries of the lost, those who had turned from the God who made them. A shadow brushed his heart, the weight of solitude pressing against his spirit. "Yes, my son," he replied softly, "but let us not forget the desolation that lies beyond. What will remain of the stories and the sins that led to this great flood?" As they stepped onto the dry ground, feeling the firm earth beneath their feet, Noah called them near. "The Lord has chosen us, not only to survive, but to flourish. We must build an altar here, in this place where life begins again, and offer sacrifices in remembrance of his covenant with us." Shem, always filled with wisdom, spoke, "But Father, what of those who had wandered from his way? Will we carry their burden into this new world?" A silence enveloped them as they pondered the gravity of those who had fallen into darkness, forsaking the Creator for the thoughts of the flesh. Their hearts were burdened with an unearthly tension, wrestling with the truth that awaited them. Noah replied gravely, "We shall honor the memories, but not be consumed by them. Instead, let us live rightly, so that future generations will know of his mercy. For the Lord will keep his promise, even as we bear witness to both grace and judgment." With that, they erected an altar of stones and laid their offerings upon it. Fragrant smoke spiraled heavenward, mingling with the air of a world reborn. In the celestial realms, Michael turned his gaze toward the earth below, sensing the spirit of his Creator sweeping over creation once more. "It begins anew," he declared to the hosts of heaven, "but the story is not yet complete. For hidden within this mercy lies a deceit yet to be revealed, a warning that the hearts of men may again stray." Meanwhile, in the hearts of Noah's family, a profound readiness stirred. They sensed God's sovereign plan weaving through their midst, whispering promises still unfulfilled. And as the sun shone brightly upon the earth, painting the sky with hues of color, the first semblance of a rainbow appeared, an arch of divine reminder that the covenant was renewed. It stood still between heaven and earth, a sacred promise. Yet within the unfolding splendor, questions lingered, echoing through the hearts of the faithful. What would become of the world that once was? And would the seed of rebellion that had taken root in the hearts of men now rise again? With every moment, the depth of God's plan beckoned them forward into the unfolding mystery of faith, and the journey that awaited led deeper still into the heart of his sovereign will. As Noah and his family stood before the altar, a sense of reverence enveloped them. The fragrance of the burning offerings ascended like a sweet aroma, and Noah, moved by a spirit of worship, proclaimed, "Let us remember, for the Lord will never forget his covenant with us." They gathered around him, hearts united, lost in sacred remembrance, acknowledging the depths of mercy they had received. As the last embers of the sacrifices flickered, a sudden stillness overtook the land. The birds, which had found their voices anew, hushed. Even the breeze held its breath. Noah's brow furrowed as he sensed a heaviness in the atmosphere, an anticipation that was both stirring and unsettling, as if the very heavens were about to speak. Then a luminous figure appeared before them, radiant as the dawn. Archangel Michael, his countenance bright like lightning, his presence commanding yet gentle. The family stood transfixed, awe reflecting in their eyes. Michael addressed them with a deep, resonant voice that carried the weight of divine authority. "Noah, vessel of righteousness, and you, faithful family, I come bearing revelation." "Revelation?" Noah asked, his heart pounding as he felt the air thicken with divine purpose. Michael continued, "The flood has washed clean the corruption of the earth, but the heart of man remains the same. Temptation shall rise again, and darkness will seek to veil the light. As you tread forth into this new beginning, take heed of the warnings that are yet to be spoken." Noah's heart sank at the thought of renewed darkness, and Shem, compelled by anxiety, interjected, "What shall we do, O messenger of the Lord? How can we guard against the sins that led to our ancestors' ruin?" Michael's expression softened, and he gazed into the distance as if peering through time itself. "The earth shall be replenished, and you will multiply upon it. But watch closely the children born of this new age, for the sons of God will once more be enamored by the daughters of men, and a wanderer's heart may yet arise." Upon hearing this, Ham asked, "Shall we not know their ways? How will we prevent this from happening again?" "Be steadfast in the ways of the Lord," Michael advised, his voice echoing like a timeless chorus. "Teach your children the paths of righteousness, for they will walk among the shadows of temptation. Keep the covenant of your God ever before you, for he shall be a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your path." As his words hung heavy in the air, the family felt the weight of responsibility press upon their hearts. The spectre of rebellion loomed, darkened by the foreboding truth that the nature of man was not easily changed. "And know this," Michael added with a deep intensity, "the promise of the rainbow is a sign of mercy, yet it draws a line against further judgment. A remnant shall flourish, but the hearts must remain anchored in the truth." With these final words, Michael raised his hand, and a radiant light burst forth from him, spreading like soft tendrils of dawn across the horizon. In an instant, he was gone, leaving behind an atmosphere charged with divine urgency. Noah turned to his family, their faces illuminated by understanding. "We have been given not only mercy, but a mission," he declared, eyes ablaze with renewed conviction. "We shall walk faithfully before the Lord and guard the hearts of those who come after us." As they began their journey upon the restored earth, the weight of the angel's warning pressed upon their spirits, a haunting echo of possibilities where darkness might yet encroach upon the light. In the quiet dawn that followed, the promise of the rainbow lingered in the sky, an emblem of grace, yet mingled with a mystery still unwritten. Would the hearts of men yield once more to the allure of the flesh? Or would Noah's lineage defy the patterns of the past, embracing the covenant written by the hand of God? Thus the dawn of new beginnings arose, yet within it lay hidden the question of humanity's choice, a choice that would shape generations, waiting for the revelation of God's sovereign plan in the ages to come. In the days that followed the flood, the earth began to breathe anew. The vibrant colors of creation erupted from the soil, flowers bloomed in a riot of splendor, and the verdant landscape flourished once more. Life pulsed through the veins of the land as birds soared, and every creature in harmony with the rhythm of God's renewed covenant. Noah awoke each morning with a heart filled with gratitude, reflecting on the grace that had preserved him and his family from the flood. He gathered his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, moving forth to survey the wondrous creation surrounding them. "Look upon this majestic gift from God," he declared, arms wide open, "for we are witnesses to his mercy. We shall honor our Creator by caring for this new beginning. Let us teach our children the path of righteousness and keep the covenant alive in our hearts." With resolute purpose, Noah and his family worked together to cultivate the land, planting seeds of harvest and tending to the flourishing flora. Praise filled the air as they offered up sacrifices to the Lord upon the altar, their hearts bursting with devotion. "Your promises are true, O Lord," Noah would proclaim, flames reaching skyward as he offered the choicest animals, a fragrant aroma rising before the throne of grace. And as the seasons turned, the skies opened, and rain fell gently upon the earth once more, though never again would the deluge come to cleanse the world in judgment. In that moment, God's voice rang clear like a trumpet through the firmament. "Noah, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you," he spoke, the gentle breeze carrying his words. "Never again shall all flesh be cut off from the waters of the flood, nor shall there be a flood to destroy the earth." The promise of the rainbow answered this divine decree, signaling the faithfulness of God, a radiant arch against the azure sky, reminding Noah and his offspring that grace and mercy would reign in every season. Within the sacred continuity of creation, questions lingered. Will we be vigilant against the temptations of the past? Shem often pondered aloud as they gathered after long days. The Archangel Michael warned us of a darkness yet to come. In hushed tones, the brothers expressed their fears, recognizing that with each passing day the human heart remained prone to wander. "Let our legacy become the antidote to the whispers of darkness," Japheth responded passionately. "Let us sow seeds of faith, nurturing belief in the hearts of those who follow. We shall recount the tales of our forefathers, of Adam, of Enoch, and of the covenant made with our own father Noah." Time flowed, and as the generations transcended through the life of Noah, a righteous man in a world renewed, his heart swelled with hope, his children multiplied, and with each birth a promise emerged, a fresh start, a new opportunity to inspire holiness amidst the shadows of temptation. Yet the spectre of fallen angels lingered in the memory of the faithful, the warning ever present in unguarded moments. In quiet solitude, Noah often sought the Lord, praying for wisdom to guide his family. "May our lives reflect your holiness, O God. May we be protectors of truth, forbearers of grace." And God heard the cries of his faithful servant, whispering strength amid the turbulence of human choice. And thus, life continued on the cleansed earth, but the legacy of Noah extended far beyond the borders of his covenant. As children grew and the lineage of humanity evolved, the hearts of men, tempted and tried, fluctuated between faith and rebellion, a tug-of-war that reverberated through the generations. Years turned to decades as roots of lineage extended outward. Yet, as foretold by Michael, corruption again infiltrated the hearts of men, and the union of the sons of God with the daughters of men emerged once more, a cyclical unraveling of divine order. Conceived within the depths of rebellion was a stark dichotomy. A call to righteousness wrestled with the allure of fleshly desires. As the days of Noah faded into the fabric of time, whispers of darkness swirled anew. Yet he remained unwavering, pouring the depths of his heart into the legacy of covenant teaching all he knew to stand firm against the tide. Remember, he would implore his sons, the story is our weapon. It bears witness to hope beyond rebellion. Our faith is our shield against encroaching shadows, a beacon that can lead many back to the heart of God. And so their journey began, a pilgrimage through the intricacies of God's purpose, the call to combat darkness with light, sowing seeds of faith as offerings to both the earth and heavens, an invitation to reclaim the hearts of mankind. Thus, the divine narrative continues, woven through lives and generations, rich with both promise and caution. A reminder that the hearts of men hold the power to choose, to turn toward the Creator, or to be ensnared by the whisper of unholy temptation. As the sun set over a reconciled world, painting skies with the hues of redemption, the promise of the rainbow, a vivid proclamation of grace, hung ever so brightly, a reminder that hope would always spring forth from the depths of despair. Take heed, dear friends. Remember his faithfulness, the reminder of mercy entwined within his justice, and join the call to spread his truth, for the world needs it now more than ever. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next powerful biblical stories that transform lives. Leave a like now to help spread God's word through the algorithm, and comment your spiritual reflections of how this story impacted your faith. Do not wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's word, because his message of hope and redemption is meant for all.